Hey, do you know there's about three questions that people that retire ask themselves on a continual basis? Number one question: what can I do now to make a meaningful contribution to society? Number two: what new passions or hobbies can I pursue to bring fulfillment to my life? And number three: what do I do not to become socially isolated and keep my connections with friends, colleagues, and just simply acquaintances? Hello, everyone, and welcome to You've Retired, Now What? I'm here to help you navigate through these waters of deciding what's the rest of my life going to look like? What's my next phase going to look like? What have I not done that I wanted to do? I'm your host, Michael Kiffmeyer, and each week on this podcast, I give you tips and tricks, processes, and methodologies that can help you through your thought process. So we got a whole lot to talk about. Let's dive in. Retirement is a major transition in your life. It often marks a real shakeup in your day-to-day, how you used to do things. You know, we all plan for our financial well-being in our retirement, but what we don't plan for is the emotional and the meaningful challenges that we'll face on a day-to-day basis. You know, it was great when you worked because you had structure. You knew exactly what was going to be asked of you. You knew what you had to do. And it also was your sense of identity. Now you're looking for a new sense of identity. So it's not just about leaving work when you retire. It's about entering a new phase of life fulfilled with opportunities and to pursue the passions and contribute meaningfully to life now. You know, all those years you worked, you had all kinds of ideas and plans on what you were going to do. I have a question for you. How's that working for you? Especially if you retired after 2 years. Time moves quickly. And those of you that have retired, you're probably saying, where's the time go? And then you're probably going to ask yourself a question one day, how did I ever find time to work? Well, you did it at the expense of not seeing your family as often as you wanted to, or needed to. You made sacrifices. You did what you had to do to make a living, pay the bills, and make sure that you had a future of some type. You traded time for money. Now you have time all the time. You know, finding purpose in retirement is a deeply personal journey. And it's not the same for everyone. There's not a rule book. How do we go about this? It's kind of like when you got married, if you did. You had some ideas how you went about it, but till you got into it, you really didn't know. You didn't know all the give and take. Well, I want to share with you the same thing happens within retirement. That you can't just not have a purpose. You might have heard me on these podcasts before kind of mention to you that the Japanese have a word for it. And that word is ikigai. And it gives them a purpose to get up and out of that bed every day. And ikigai started for the Japanese people from when they were young all the way to the end of their life. And I would encourage you, that's something that you might need to do as well. You need to have a purpose. You might not do the same things you did when you retired, and nor do you want to. Or let me play that back. You might not do the same sort of things you want to do when you worked. And you're looking for something new. But with that something new, as much as you hate to admit it, you're going to need a little bit of structure. You're going to need to, plan your days and what are you going to do? Instead of just getting up and let life happen to you. And I'm sure anyone here that's listening to this podcast, you had ideas what your retirement was going to look like, what you were going to do, and how you were going to do it. But if you don't have a plan written down, chances are real good you're not going to do them, and you're going to have projects, and you're going to turn around, and all of a sudden 5 years have gone by, and you've been in retirement, and you didn't even start doing whatever. It's great to hang out, okay? It's great to just kind of bring things or let things come to you as they will. But the fact of the matter is that you're not going to get towards your goals if you don't have it written down. You got to have a plan with a timeline, and that plan has to have something simple like this. Say you're going to lose 20 pounds. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by the end of February. We're at the end of January right now. And say you're going to lose 20 pounds by the end of February. Is that realistic? You need to write down how many pounds you're going to lose in a day, how many pounds you project to lose in a week. What else are you going to do to support that? Are you going to exercise? Yes, you need to. Are you going to watch your nutrition? Yes, you need to. And anybody that's ever tried to lose weight over the age of 60, you know it's hard. It's hard because we don't have the same metabolisms as we once did, and it's a struggle. But if you have a plan and you write down, say you take walks, and say you swim or you just take walks, you might even do yoga. Just be consistent about it, because success comes in consistency. It doesn't come by just having an idea. An idea is just that. It's an idea. It's not a plan until you write down goals and objectives. And if you track them on a daily and a weekly and a monthly basis, you'll be amazed at how far you have progressed. You know, retirement's kind of reinventing or bringing up out of the ashes long-held interests that you had, but you can never act upon them because you were busy working. You didn't have the time. You had bills to pay. You had responsibilities at work, and life was hectic. You have the time now. You have the time to do something rather significant. You have time to understand, who are you? You know, what you did when you worked, that was a job. That's what you did. And I certainly understand that was your identity. I am a ex-corporate executive, and that was my identity. That's what I did. But once I stepped away, I had to find a new me. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of it. You know, fears are often unfounded. I always call them FUDs, fears, uncertainties, and doubts. And isn't it true that every time that you think of something and you get afraid about it, it never happens anyway? So our imagination can go wild. And that's all the more reason why you want to have some structure, and so you can accomplish more in your life. Because I'll guarantee you're not finished yet. Perhaps you've heard me tell you before that if you retired today at 65 years old, chances of you living another 25 to 30 years is great. So you need to plan for it. I know you probably didn't plan on that with financial planning. When you did your financial planning, you know, we used to say, well, 80 is about it. Well, it's not about it anymore. You can do as much as you want to do as long as you put yourself out there. And that starts with mindset. It starts with mindset, and you can't live like you think that retirement is. I have a lot of friends, and they live that way. And I got to share with you, many of them, I watch them, they seem to age before their time. If you have a sense of purpose, you got meaning in your life, and you just got to understand now you have to um, you have to be your own structure because you're not getting it from work anymore. You've got to reach out with different groups, even online, to connect so you feel socially connected. I can't share with you how many folks that I have met online, and they're good friends now. I know that sounds crazy. I've met friends in Southeast Asia. I've met friends in the Mideast, in England, just pretty much all over the world. And as an educator and a digital creator, there's no walls for me that I can't cross via the internet. So you could do the same thing if that was something that interests you. You know, you work, say, 30 or 40 years, you have a whole lot of intellectual capital that you could contribute to others in the world if you should choose to do so. I was I guess, an evangelist for adult learning and online learning. And I help major corporations and universities teach their people right online. That empowered people at the point of impact. Projects like helping retail stores to have instant information right at their fingertips, so that new store personnel didn't have to fumble or say, I have to get back to you, etc. They had the information at their fingertips. And I made the decision that I saw people my age and older struggling after retirement, and many of those tools, processes, and methodologies that I use for these major organizations and university, I can do the same for individuals now. My mission is to help people to get through their next phase, to help people to reach their goals, whatever those goals may be. So it's important in your quest for purpose to kind of make what we called a Ben Franklin list back in the day, all the pluses and all the minuses. You need to list your interests. You need to match your values. And I'll share with you, even though something seems like it's a good idea, if your interests don't match your values, chances are you're not going to stick with it very long. And you know what? That's okay. That's okay, because this is your time to kind of rediscover who you are. So many years, I'll guarantee you, especially if you worked in the corporate world or even manufacturing plants, wherever, people told you what it's all about. Wouldn't it be nice to tell yourself what you stand for? Like I said earlier, your job was just your job. That's not who you were. You are a person. You've got wants and needs, and why don't you start filling them? So you heard me say, and I still agree, when you retire, there's a lot of challenges and transitions. And I don't think enough people, when they're planning on retiring, think about that. They think about the financial, am I financially okay, etc. And I'll just let things come as they come to me. Well, that's not a very good plan, because if you have goals and different avenues you want to travel, different places you want to visit, you got to have a plan. And you've got to also understand you're going to go through all this emotional challenges that you used to have, people that you talk to on an everyday basis. Now you don't. So you need to be make it your business to be socially connected. And you can do things like joining, clubs, a book club, cart club, a sewing club, whatever your interest may be. This is a way to connect. You can connect through your church. You can connect through speaker bureaus. You can connect through just volunteering at schools, even nursing homes, that can make you fulfilled. And if you have a special skill, I'm going to share with you right now. People want to know it. Hey guys, real quick, if you've been struggling to answer the question, now what, after you've retired, I'd like to invite each and every one of you to my free Now What challenge that can help you reignite your spark, give yourself a sense of direction, try to decide exactly what it is you want to do in this next phase of your life. People are very smart and they get worn out. I know that. But eventually they know they got to do something more. And you need a purpose to get up and out of that bed each and every morning. I have tools, processes, and methodologies that I'm going to share with you in this challenge that I believe will help you clear your mind and decide exactly what you're going to do in this next phase of your life. When I first introduced online learning to major organizations, they looked at me like I had two heads. Look at it now. University of Phoenix is probably one of the largest universities in the world because it's bringing learning right to where people are instead of they have to go to a schoolhouse or a university or a college or a school. And what it's doing is it's giving more people the advantage to get education that perhaps they might never have had. You have a transition outside of the challenges. You're going to have a transition mentally. And don't dismiss that's a big deal. It is a big deal because you had everything in your life just kind of scheduled, and you did this and you did that, whatever, and now all of a sudden it's blown up. And if you don't have a plan mentally and emotionally, you're going to have challenges. You're going to have challenges with yourself. You're going to doubt yourself, and you don't want to do that. You want to have a plan so that you can start to fulfill all those dreams you had when you were doing work for others in all those working years. You didn't have any time for yourself. So how are you going to identify who you are now? We can do things like we can help you with assessments and kind of identify what you like and what you don't like. We can share with you ways that you can find out different areas that appeal to you. So I want you to think about all these things because I think they can be valuable to you. And you don't have to feel like you're alone. I've kind of built a community, and what I want to do with this podcast is connect people together. And isn't it great somebody has the same kind of doubts that you have? They have some of the same kind of fears. So you're not alone. Many are just downright scared once they retire. And they thought it was going to be a certain way, and then they retire, and they're starting to find out, oh, that's not what I wanted. I never thought it was going to be this way. So, and I want you to also consider your life can be an iterative process. That means if this part doesn't work, then let's change and let's go here. You don't have a boss to answer to anymore. It's you. And if you do have a boss to answer to, if you've decided to go back to work, then you still need to have plans because one day you're going to step away from all of it, and you're going to have to you're going to be asking yourself that question: what do I do now? What now? And all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to encourage you to help yourself find a new path. So let me give you a couple case studies of some people. There's a client I have by the name of John, and John was a teacher. Guess what John does now? He goes into schools and helps young people learn better. So it's all volunteer, but it gives him a sense of fulfillment. I have another guy by the name of Marcus. Marcus is an innovator, and he taught. He got the opportunity to teach classes in a university on the process of innovation, what you think about, and how you can put it together. He's not only sharing his intellectual capital that he developed over the past, say, 30 or 40 years, he's helping individuals get their career started as well. There might be creative pursuits that you want to pursue. You know that Grandma Moses didn't really start painting until she's 80, and she didn't get famous until she was about 85 years old. So there's not time limits on our life. I'd encourage you to become a lifelong learner and always look for personal growth, because that's what's going to give you a sense of purpose. So if you're looking to live a purposefully driven life, these are some areas you might want to look into. And they might not fit, but that's okay. So there's, online, there's all kinds of tools and resources. You can Google. I don't know if any of you have played with artificial intelligence, but there's a tool out there called ChatGPT and AI, and together you can ask it anything. Write me a paper on this, 5,000 words, and it spits it out. You can edit it, and there you go. You might be able to write a book this way, and I know you can, because I've come across many people that have. So and this is opening up your mind, not living in the past and just doing what you always did. Okay, and the only way people progress is through change. All my years of teaching, I will share with you the toughest thing I ever had to teach is change. People don't want to change. They want to keep doing it the way they're doing it. Even if it's more efficient, a new way, they don't want to change. And if you're willing to change, you're going to make progress. And change is not always a bad thing. I mean, look at what we've seen in our lifetimes, especially if you're like me, a baby boomer, from where we were to what we got today. My goodness. I was in college and I can remember using microfiche, where you had to turn the little thing on a film. And I remember I told my daughter about this, and she says, was that right after they invented fire? Yeah, but it worked, okay? I had to read several books for every class under my major. And I was working 40 hours a week in the same time. So I had to find a bridge, and that was the bridge. Well, you might need to find a bridge now too. Don't run from change. Don't run from technology. Embrace it. It's there to empower you to do great things. So just take a look at it, and you can go to community colleges, and you can, or some even major universities will let you observe the class, and they won't charge you anything as long as you're not looking to get credit for that class. So that's why I encourage you to be a lifelong learner. Look at the people in your life that have been successful. I'll guarantee you they've continued to learn all along the path. They haven't stopped. And I'm sharing with you, you shouldn't stop either. You should try to learn as much as you can. Knowledge is powerful, and knowledge can help you get excited about your life, and you might find new paths of things that you can do that you never thought of before. You can go to retirement planning workshops. And what I'm giving you now, just some ideas on to feed you to work on a new plan for your retirement. You dreamt about the day you retired. Now you are, if you're not already there, you're pretty close, or you've already retired. And why can't you live the retirement that you always dreamed of? Why do you have to settle? I say you don't have to settle. So I want you to think about all these areas and see how they can apply to you. So, and you can get a lot of information in local community centers and learning centers. So, your call to action is to kind of work on these different areas that I have suggested to you today in today's podcast. And if you need some more help, I'd like to invite everybody on this podcast to a free challenge that I'm going to hold. Hopefully I'm going to hold it here in February. And if you keep following this podcast, I'll give you the dates. But it's called the Now What Challenge. And what the Now What Challenge is all about is you've retired, now what? And in that, we're going to talk about what some ideas, what your goals are. We're going to work towards some of those ideas on how to implement those goals. You've heard me say before, I got tools, processes, methodologies that I can use to help you and get to the goals that you want to. This challenge will be 5 days. It'll be an hour each day, and it's 100% free to you. My mission is to help others. I got this idea when at one point in my career, I was actually a recruiter. I was a headhunter. And I'd watch people that had lost their jobs, and they were lost. And they had that deer in the headlights look. And they said, I used to have this and I used to have that. And I'd sympathize. I said, understood. It's gone. You're going to have to readjust yourself. I'm saying the same things to you. And in this challenge that I'm going to hold, we're going to do it via Zoom. And at the end of it, you're going to have a blueprint, or at least a skeleton blueprint, on what your next steps are going to be. And as I said, it's all free to you. And I believe that it will help. It will help you uncloud your mind. People are very sharp. They're very intelligent, but sometimes people get stuck in their own thoughts and don't know how to take the first step. I want to show you how to make the first step. Okay? I want to show you and throw ideas out to you and give you some processes to help you get to where you want to be. I want to thank you for listening today. And if you stay tuned to this, and the next week I'll be putting the link up for the free challenge, the Now What Challenge. And I thank you for listening and watching. Thank you very much. Hey, before we conclude this episode, I'd like each and every one of you to know that your thoughts, your dreams, and what you would like to get out of this podcast is valuable to me. My whole goal and my mission is to serve you like I have served others. For years I had taught major corporations how to use learning as a competitive advantage. I want to do the same for you. So please leave your notes or reach out to me, and I want to gear this podcast towards your wants and needs and help you as much as I can. Again, this is Michael Kiffmeyer, and you've listened to You've Retired, Now What? I want to thank each and every one of you for listening.